Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another segment of U.S. News by Billie, episode 42, today's date, July 30, 2023. Some of the things we'll be covering. U.S. military approves and comes out with details about combat pay for U.S. military inside Ukraine. Fresno, bio number 2 in California. Hunter free. What's going on with our weaponized courts? And space secrets coming out. Even the U.S. government is providing information to the U.S. people. Oceans boil and whales move. Some of my sources are God in the Bible, Patriot subscribers, suspicious observers, Washington Post, Reuters, Life Science, Inside Edition, WPLG Local, Beforeitsnews interview. That was Carrie Cassidy of SG. Space Weather, UVindex.com, Hal Turner, Steve Quayle's site, Daily Mail. Let's see. I think, Dr M Salla, Super Soldier Talk with James Rink, Cosmic Awakening Reality. Okay, so let's get started. I have a Patriot subscriber. Yeah, it's talking about the heat and that you can wear, there's a neck item you can cool down. Some of them, one of them is with water. You just wring it out with water and put it on your neck. It'll cool down. But others are more elaborate, more expensive. And talking about recommending a generator for your home. You can get them solar powered. Yeah. I know also you can get fans that operate on batteries. I did that after a recent hurricane. I have a Patriot subscriber who says, our plants in Missouri, they're not dying, but they're not growing. And this has been going on for months. So what? What's going on? I have this from Mauritius. It's a little island on the other side of Africa. It's in the southern hemisphere. Talking about in the summer is usually their winter, but they're having higher temperatures this summer. And he provided more information than I could get when I did research. What was the norm? And he said, normally in the summer, the temperature in Mauritius is 10 to 15 degrees Celsius or 50 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit. And this year, it's 25 degrees Celsius or 77 degrees Fahrenheit. So in terms of Fahrenheit, their normal in the summer for their winter would be 59 degrees Fahrenheit, and yet this summer it's 77 degrees Fahrenheit. So we see around the earth, we're in the summer of 2023, when it would be cooler, it's warmer, and where it would be warmer, it's cooler. So we see a change globally. And yes, I do believe in climate change, but I don't believe humans are causing it at all. Okay, so let's get to the big story. Yeah, the U.S. military comes out and says, we're going to increase the combat pay for our U.S. military troops who are fighting Russia inside Ukraine. Oh, you didn't know about it? Yeah, that's going on. Okay, so this information is coming from Hal Turner's site, and he obtained an internal memo from the U.S. military. So this letter came from, and it's about increasing the U.S. military pay for U.S. military inside Ukraine because it is a combat zone. So it's a plus $225 per month. Now, the letter came out from the Assistant Secretary of Defense, and it was dated July 13, 2023, but it's retroactive, meaning it applies to the past for the U.S. military who have been fighting inside Ukraine. And it's retroactive back to April 24 of 2022. So, yeah, we've had troops there. And I know last year, Gene Decode reported on 80,000 U.S. military who had been killed inside Ukraine, and that they had been buried in Poland near Warsaw, where a cemetery had been built by the U.S. military, similar to the Arlington Cemetery in the U.S. So, yeah, that's been going on. Our so-called U.S. government. Okay. All right. And we need to be in prayer for the healing and for the shock and dismay that's going to come to thousands of U.S. military families who didn't even know that their sons and daughters were fighting combat inside Ukraine. All right, so that's going on. Now we have this. So we have in Fresno, California, a recent information coming out about a biolab operated illegally by Chinese inside California. So Fresno had a Chinese biolab, and this was taken out. It was in Ridley, California, which is in Fresno County. It was taken out by the Fresno County Department of Health and the CDC and the FBI and the local sheriff and police. And it had been illegally operating for about a year. It was located at 850 I Street in Ridley, California. Some of the things they had there, Corona, that I put that out in 2020. Yeah, it was a bioweapon. And had support also from the French Nobel Prize winning virologist from France who also worked in China. He said it's a bioweapon. I had information from Cliff High, from Jim Willey, from Gene Decode, from two professors from Texas A&M, both of whom had 50 years experience in bioweapons, both of whom said it's a bioweapon. So, yeah, this lab, they were doing more stuff with corona, malaria, HIV, strep, when you get strep throat or strep pneumonia, hepatitis B and C, and other things. So, they also had 900 genetically engineered mice, and the plan was the mice were going to be their vector they put all these bioengineered diseases inside the mice and turned the mice loose and let them spread it. Yeah. And they found thousands of unlabeled vials of blood and other things. They don't know, what was going on there. Now, these reports come initially from a Kevin Hurler with Gizmondo, a reporting media, and then NBC, MidValleyTimes.com. So, yeah. So this was reported on Beforeitsnews, July 29. But the lab and the taking it down happened like in April, and they've been investigating it and are just now putting this information out publicly. Oh, okay. Now we'll talk about our weaponized court systems in the U.S., weaponized by the PPs I call political pukes. Okay. So for President Trump, from the weaponized Department of Justice, Jack Smith, we're going to bring extra charges against President Trump because, he had government documents inside his home in Florida. It's got to be a crime because who cares? We put aside the Constitution. We put aside all laws. It's all about money, baby. You pay us, we'll arrest the president. Yep, we'll get that going. Now, we have information about Hunter Biden. Now, we have had, and the FBI had this information, in 2020, videos, statements from many people in Ukraine and other locations about the JB. He took money from the U.S., billions, gave it to Ukraine, and then he got a kickback in millions. That's now being substantiated by the IRS. I guess there are some good people in the IRS, and they're testifying in front of Congress. Yeah, he received billions of dollars. Now, that would have been the flesh and blood JB, and who passed away actually in 2019. So, the FBI, the CIA, all the political pukes knew that the individual supposedly ran in 2020 was actually an actor puppet. Yeah. But at any rate, who cares? They took in millions of dollars, as did the children of Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, and Mitt Romney, among others. And so there was a hearing in the Boggs Federal Building in Wilmington, Delaware on July 26, and the charges against Hunter Biden, for other things too, illegal, like possession of a weapon he shouldn't have had, and doing cocaine and other things. Yeah, that was on film. Yeah, so they were gonna just let it go for a misdemeanor, but the judge, Mary Ellen Norinco, said, I'm not signing off on this. Some kind of thing with a gun, that was a felony. I'm not letting that go. So the whole plea deal fell apart. Hunter is free for right now, but he'll face charges in the future. So that's going on. Oh, and we had also these charges dropped because when you have money, you can, and the Constitution's laid aside along with laws for the U.S. court system. So FTX, that was Sam Bankman-Fried. And remember, so the U.S. Congress said, we want to send these billions of dollars to Ukraine. But it went to FTX, a crypto company operated by Sam Bankman-Fried, and then it was laundered, and it came back to the U.S. Dems, and also about 1/2 of the Republicans as campaign donations. So Sam Bankman-Fried was charged with making illegal campaign donations, but it was dropped. Hey, when you're in bed with the evil ones, well, who cares about laws? Yeah. And so, Sam Bankman-Fried, his charges were dropped, and the U.S. court said, it's because when we extradited him from the Bahamas didn't charge him with that. So, who are we, the U.S. court, to overrule a little court in the Bahamas? Okay, so that's going on. All right. And now they want to charge President Trump with having government documents, even though he's president. What can you say? All right, we have this. Okay, so Israeli News Live is bringing this out. I'll draw another map a little bit later. For right now, Israeli News Live. He's talking about Planet X. People are beginning to see it and document it. And, yeah. And he's saying he received an image of it from someone in North Carolina 2 years ago. Could be, it was further out. You'd have to have an infrared camera for it. All right. And they're also seeing something around Australia. That's 1/3 the size of the moon. That's not normal. And now we have this. Oh yeah. And in addition to the JB political pukes and activities, we know that RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is running for president as a Democrat. But, the JB Secret Service group, they're not going to give him Secret Service protection. Why? Because the Democrats are not going to back someone who's not evil that they don't control. So, yeah, that's going on. Now, and also the JB avatar for the deep state sent to Taiwan millions of dollars of U.S. Military ammo and weapons, taking down more of the supplies needed to defend the American people. Because we know the deep state wants to take us down. All right. Now we have this. We have the U.S. government holding congressional hearings about UFOs. Now, the U.S. military, the U.S. government, and other groups around the world have, since the 1930s, been capturing crafts and they call them biologic bodies. They're ETs, and back engineering the craft and have bases on the moon, Mars, Sirius, and other locations. Yeah, and have been engaging in agreements with different ET groups to kidnap, enslave humans. So that's been going on since the 1930s. But hey, we're going to tell you about it now. So we have several people coming out, and I have several sources I'll link for you. Dr. Michael Salla, Awakening Cosmic Reality with Elena Kopulnik. And also a good interview is on Beforeitsnews, Kara Cassidy with SG. So, that's been going on. We had that happen, I think, this week. One of the individuals testifying is David Korush, Gorush. And now, he's saying that all ETs are evil. And Elena Kopulnik's bringing this out about Dr. Greer. He is a medical doctor who's been engaged in disclosure about UFOs for decades, who says that all ETs are good. And I agree with Elena Kopulnik. Neither statement or position could be accurate, because even, for the human species, and species defined by biology as a male and female can mate and reproduce viable offspring, meaning the offspring can then reproduce. That defines species. So we know even in the human species, not all humans are good and not all humans are bad. The same is true of ETs. But Congress is hearing information coming out from this individual had decades of experience in a professional position with the U.S. government, as did two other individuals who had some information, both Navy pilots, I believe. So, yeah, it's coming out. The reason it's coming out is because pretty soon we're going to see Planet X in the sky. So, yeah, they're moving along with that one. Now we have this. We'll talk about the heat. And in Arizona, yeah, I had a Patriot subscriber who says one half of Arizona is mountains and it's cooler, but one half is hot. They've had 30 days in a row of 110 degrees Fahrenheit plus. Shoes are melting in some areas on the pavement, and the large saguaro cactus are collapsing and dying. And now we have this. This is from Suspicious Observers. We do have a CME coming in off the sun, either July 31 or August 1, which will could produce a geomagnetic storm and also affect the KP index. How far down and across the U.S. will come the aurora borealis and so on. And a CME usually has some effect on electronics and spacecraft, satellites like that. But it's not a strong CME. So that's coming in. All right, now we have this. So we have, yeah. And I have a Facebook friend who joined recently has a Christian ministry in Nepal. It's very interesting. So we have China. Here's Russia, China, India. So we have along this border. We have the Himalayas. We have the tallest mountains there, including Mount Everest. The Sherpas are there. I know a few years ago I was having muscle cramps, and I asked God what to do about it, and he said, Sherpa tea. Well, Sherpas are a group who grew up in the Himalayan areas, who guide people up the mountains like Mount Everest. And they drink this tea, but it has in it salt and butter. So, yeah, I've been doing that. I developed a taste for it, but I drink Sherpa coffee, not tea. Okay, so this is going on in the Himalayas. In the Hindu Kush area, which is extends 2,000 miles and includes Mount Everest. We have the largest amount of ice on Earth. I was surprised to learn that. It's right here, glaciers. And because the temperature is up in this area 4 degrees Celsius, 80% of the glaciers are expected to melt by the end of the century. So we have melting glaciers in the area of the Himalayas due to heat. And it was in the fall of 2020 that God said to me, the magma inside the earth is going to rise and begin to heat up. Pay attention to the edges of the tectonic plates. So we have global change going on, but it's from magma inside the earth heating. And we have Planet X, Nibiru, a binary sun, something, 5 waves of energy, according to Mike from around the world, his term. Ben Davidson with the Suspicious Observers calls it the galactic sheet. So space is impacting the earth. Now, we have this. We have about fires. Also, Mike from around the world also predicted we would begin to have spontaneous fires. Here's the earth. And inside the Earth, the magma is heating up and rising. It's causing underground volcanoes, and it is causing the oceans to boil. Outside the Earth from space, we also have things coming in. We also have around the Earth the electromagnetic shield. It's been going down for decades. So we do have more radiation reaching the ground. We have heat, life taking heat in some areas. Now, we also, Mike from around the world said we would also begin to see all this radiation and heat coming into the Earth, inside the Earth, affecting different chemicals and causing spontaneous combustion. So we have this report coming in from Mel M with what's up with shipping. That in the North Sea, so we have, here's Europe, Netherlands. In the North Sea, we had a ship that was carrying 3,000 cars. Some of them were electric vehicles with lithium batteries that caught on fire. And this was a huge ship. So in the evening of Tuesday, July 26th, these batteries caught on fire, set the whole ship on fire. One sailor was killed, and the Coast Guard from these areas came and rescued the crew. And the company who owned the ship left it, abandoned it, and it's still on fire. So that's going on. And now we have this from Epoch Times, Joshua Phillip. In New York and San Francisco on July the 28th, they have what's called e-bikes. They have little engines on them, spontaneously caught on fire. They also have lithium batteries. So that happened. So we see heat is affecting various things and causing also fires, spontaneous combustion. And now we have this. So we have Europe. We have the Mediterranean Sea. We've got the North Atlantic Sea. We've got the U.S. Down here would be Australia. Okay. So we see temperatures going up in the oceans. In the Mediterranean Sea, the norm had been 28.71. This temperature was taken July 24. So it was 28.71 Celsius or 83.7 degrees Fahrenheit, way above normal. In the North Atlantic, on July 26, we had 24.9 Celsius or 76.8 degrees Fahrenheit, all above normal. And so now we're going to see how some of this is affecting animal life, plus this. Okay. Now we have this. We have in the U.S., Texas, Mexico, California. We have Canada. We have Alaska. All right. Now, we have this. So we have fires going on. We know about in Canada. And we have in Alaska where there's been a stagnant heat dome. They are recording temperatures in the 90s. So in Fairbanks, Alaska, on July 24, they had a temperature of 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 degrees Celsius. And the average for this time period would be 72 degrees Fahrenheit or 22 degrees Celsius. So we see a almost a 20 degree increase in heat in California. And we see this in Philadelphia. We see 108 degrees Fahrenheit, which would be 42 degrees Celsius, way above normal. New York City, we see 103 Fahrenheit, 39 Celsius. These temperatures are way above normal. In most areas, about 20 degrees. Now we have this happening. Seattle coming down in this area from the Bering Sea area into, so we see whales moving. And on July 27, we saw in this area beluga whales, which normally are up in this area in the Bering Sea, much cooler temperature, but seen in Seattle. So something's going on. Could it be that there is more heat in the oceans where it should be cooler? Well, that would correspond to the information I just demonstrated about the island of Mauritius. Normally it's much cooler now, but now it's much warmer. So that's going on. And now we see this. Also in Australia, we had 100 whales beach themselves on the western side of Australia, July 26. So this happened with the beluga, July 27, July 26. We see 100 whales beaching themselves and dying. And we have this. We have in Florida, an orca was seen, and that was on July 26. And normally orcas also are in Iceland, Norway, New Zealand. In the U.S., they're on the west coast, but we see them now on the east coast. And we see a beluga coming down from the Bering Sea, and we see an orca going from the west coast to the east coast. I submit to you, the oceans are boiling. So that's going on. And now a short prayer. And we do need to be in prayer for the thousands of U.S. military families. When are they going to find out what is the status of their sons and daughters? That's unknown, but that's going on. A short prayer. America, based on America the Beautiful, words and lyrics by Bates and Ward. America. May our skies remain forever clear and blue. May amber waves of grain ever fill our plains. May pilgrim feet ever seek our shores who are aligned with God, to walk in a land of freedom by constitution, in a land of liberty by law, in a land of grace by blessing from God. And we say, thank you, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and God the Holy Spirit. I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there, continue to pray. It's good to remember God is in charge, and He is on the move. I love you, and I'll see you soon.